many people living with disability or illnesses in the northwest region of Cameroon could benefit from rehabilitation in the healthcare program, including things like occupational therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, and related fields. But rehabilitation, as important as it is often overlooked in Africa, especially in Cameroon. So how exactly can we help with that? What kind of systems are in place? That's exactly what we're talking about in this episode. We're speaking with Julius and Christian. They are based in Canada, one in Toronto and another in Ottawa. Incredible gentlemen. ICDR-Cameroon is the name of the initiative, the name of the program. Man, you guys are in for an incredible episode. Please keep it locked. Shout out to Mane and Dopin for making this happen. This is Stuck in Middle podcast. Keep it locked. After this intro, we're going to get an interview. So Christian, what exactly is ICDR or the International Center for Disability and Rehabilitation? What is it for people who are coming to it right now for the first time watching this video?
Oh yeah, sure. I can explain. So ICDR is located at the University of Toronto in Canada, the Faculty of Medicine, I believe. Julius can correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yes. So it's a center that engages in research and practice in the areas of disability and rehabilitation. It engages in those activities both in Canada but also internationally. It has research groups that focus on many developing countries, including Tanzania, I believe Vietnam, Trinidad and Tobago, Cameroon. And we are part of the Cameroon research section of ICDR.
So you both are based in Toronto, Canada right now?
Yes, we are.
Julius, how did you...
Julius is... No, I am in Toronto. Julius is in Ottawa, I believe.
Oh, okay. Dang, it's cold out there, man. How did you come to get involved with ICDR, Julius? How did you come to get involved with it and when?
Yeah, so in 2017, I got in touch with Lynn Coburn, who's chair of ICDR Cameroon group, and then we got to talk about some collaboration, and then I got to have a position at the University of Toronto as adjunct faculty, and then through that I became involved with ICDR Cameroon. So that is how I started, and of course the interest in ICDR Cameroon also comes from the fact that I'm originally from Cameroon, and so I was very interested to see that there was a research group that was doing something to try to improve the lives of people living with disabilities in the northwest region of Cameroon.
So how, in this partnership, you guys brothers, like schoolmates from back in Cameroon, like how did the link up happen? Either one of you?
Yeah, so Christian was already part of ICDR Cameroon before I joined. I never knew Christian before, so it was by becoming part of ICDR Cameroon that I got to know Christian. And I believe that Christian can explain best how he became involved with ICDR Cameroon. But of course, Lynn Coburn, like I said, was very instrumental in setting up this group, and then looking for people to become part of this group and to do some work in Cameroon to improve the lives of people living with disability.
So Christian, in what capacity exactly, like this ICDR, International Center for Disability and Rehabilitation, serving Cameroon? I know, like you said, in Tanzania, different countries, but in what capacity? Is it just like a research focus initiative, or help focus initiative? Like in what capacity does the ICDR help these various countries, in Cameroon in particular?
Yeah, so in terms of activities, it's both research and practice. We conduct research related to those two areas, disability and rehabilitation. We also engage in practice and supporting our partners in Cameroon. Those partners could be non-governmental organizations, hospitals, or just people who work, for example, at the ministry at a ministry that will be in charge of rehabilitation and disability issues. So we engage in both practice and research in Cameroon.
So, like, for perspective, what is the scope of disability and rehabilitation right now in the northwest region of Cameroon? Like, You know what I mean? Like for somebody who has no idea, how would you describe it? Is it like disparaging situation? Like what is the scope of when you talk about disability and rehabilitation in Northwest region of Cameroon right now?
Yeah. I mean, I can talk about it, and I'm sure Julius will add a few things about this. I think the situation, because right now in Cameroon, we have a conflict happening
Yes.
in northwest and southwest regions. And even before the conflict, the situation was pretty dire. We had issues just implementing our activities. The conditions of people with disabilities was not great. So the conflict right now is just worsening the situation. And so that's the context of rehabilitation disabilities in Cameroon. But despite the conflict, we are still able to sort of implement some activities. We have our partners on the ground. Sometimes we support them in terms of funding, but also in terms of I don't like to use expertise because I am not an expert in disability and rehabilitation. But I am sort of expert in other areas that are connected. I just finished my PhD at the University of Toronto in higher education research. So I try sometimes to connect disability and rehabilitation to my own area of expertise. So we provide that support to our partners on the ground. Recently, we organized a forum where we taught them, we introduced them in research methods and data analysis. So that's something that we do, and that's something my expertise sort of contributes to in helping people on the ground.
Yeah, anything to add there?
Yes, thanks. Just to add to what Christian just said, I just want to go take a step back and just give you some statistics. First, there are about 1 billion people living with disabilities worldwide, according to the WHO, and about 80% of these people live in resource-poor settings, like in countries like low-income countries, and therefore, in those low-income countries and resource-poor settings, it's rehabilitation sciences section. It's usually I think a neglected section where you don't get a lot of effort of resources put into that. So coming back to Cameroon, in the northwest region of Cameroon and in general in Cameroon, the rehabilitation sciences is also not well developed. Physical therapy in the northwest region, but we don't have occupational therapy. And so those are type of things that we work to ensure that we work with the partners that we have in Cameroon to support them in terms of education, in terms of long-term partnership, so that we can provide services that support what they do in the region. So one of the things that we've done also with the conflicts that Christian mentioned is that we have worked together with a group there in Cameroon to set up a forum. And the forum was aimed at supporting the, mental health workers, and not just mental health workers, but people working in health and social care during the violent conflict, to ensure that we support them both mentally and also help to provide them with the resources. When I talk about the resources, more about the training, and therefore you have a forum that provides support. And in addition, it also helps people to gain some skills that they didn't have, and to be able to cope with the conflict, and also whilst providing the services that they can provide. So that is what we've been doing there, and of course it's a long way that we still have we still have a lot to do, but again we take little steps to ensure that we are able to provide support to our partners there in Cameroon.
How you mentioned and this is really good stuff. You mentioned partnership. Speak a little bit more. Julius, you can start, and then Christian chimes in. As far as like partnership is concerned, where do you need strategic partnerships right now? Not only in Cameroon, but worldwide, even here. For people listening right now, what kind of things are you looking for that will help augment this initiative?
Well, thank you. So ICDR in general actually works by linking up with partners that are found in different countries. So because we work in resource poor settings, we've identified some partners within those countries where we can work with to be able to deliver services. But apart from that, There are numerous ways in which people can get involved. So we can get students who become part of the student group who also might be interested in internships in these countries. In Cameroon, for instance, we help to place students with various organizations providing internships that also help them in this in their field. But apart from this as well, what we do is that we have researchers, so people can also be involved as researchers. If you're interested in research, then you can get in touch with ICDR and then become part of a research group. So there are various groups that exist. Now, coming back to the Northwest region in Cameroon, our main partner in the Northwest is known as the Coordinating Unit for the Association of Persons with Disabilities. So this is a group that coordinates different groups of people with disabilities in the Northwest region. And so what we do is, like, as a partner, we provide support to them in various ways. We work together on various projects. One of those projects that is currently going on is a project on HIV, AIDS, and rehabilitation. And therefore, they've identified a specific project to produce educational materials and trainings for people with disabilities. And then we provide support in the development of these materials. And then they, in turn, will be able to transcribe these materials into various accessible formats that will be able to reach out to a wider audience. Now, we've also worked together with other groups there in the past to support the work that other organizations like the healthcare organizations in Cameroon, specifically in the Northwest region, are involved in. So we do a lot of partnerships with them. But the main organization is that associating unit of the persons with disabilities in the Northwest region.
Christian, as far as like education is concerned, it's one thing to educate, both the healthcare workers, helping out these folks with disability who need rehabilitation. But it's also one thing, as back in Cameroon or Africa, for example, that is people living with these conditions are stigmatized. Speak about the education aspect of those of us who to be supporting these people, as far as like knowing that these are people that in these situations and need access to society to be able to function just as everybody else. Are there any things that ICDR is doing in that capacity, as far as like just educating people not to stigmatize these folks and to help integrate them into society as effortlessly as possible?
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, because it goes back to when I joined ICDR. I joined ICDR in 2013, just like so almost by accident. I was a graduate student back then, and I welcomed the opportunity to just earn extra income and also help Cameroon to some extent. So when I joined ICDR back then, I think that the debate was about, I had a debate with the chair, me, and other members about that stigmatization that exists in some societies against people with disabilities. And I think it's important to understand that you cannot transpose values from one country to another in a really dramatic way. For example, people with disabilities in the West, in Western countries, are somewhat better off than people with disabilities in developing countries. But you need to understand the context in the developing countries as to why people are stigmatized. There is a lot of sometimes in some countries, for example, people with disabilities will be labeled as witches. So and then it will have an impact on how they are treated. Sometimes I think I remember Lynn telling me a story about some people with disabilities in the Northwest region in Cameroon that will be chained for a whole day because people were just afraid that they might harm themselves or their family members, but they were treated in such poor conditions. So although this is a very, very terrible situation, but at the same time, you need to understand the context of the country and what is the people's perspectives on the ground, and maybe try to address that, because people are sometimes very resistant when you come with a sort of a human right perspective in terms of, okay, you need to treat people with disability this way because this is how they are treated in the West. People will be resistant. So you need to approach it in an angle, like a cultural angle, and try to sort of understand and go about it in sort of a smooth way, because you just cannot eradicate discrimination against people with disabilities with just a human right approach and people coming from the West and just having then people, local people will have the perception that they are being imposed certain values. So that's how I approached it, and that's from the beginning when I joined ICDR. I just want to stress the local context and work with the local context to improve people's condition.
Julius, what struggles do you ICDR or you personally, and this is a question for both of you. Start with Julius. What struggles do you face as far as like not only with the struggle but implementing everything that it is that ICDR is looking to implement in Cameroon? What Christian, you've been a part of it since 2013. I don't know. How about you, Julius?
Yes. So one of the challenges that we face will be technological. I would say that's the first one. When I talk about technological, we think about, let's say, there's usually problems with the bandwidth. Those living in the Northwest region in Cameroon often do not have enough bandwidth, when we communicate with them. So because we have a lot of meetings online, and if you, for instance, were to have a Zoom call, a lot of people will not, be able to sustain that Zoom call for long because of problems with bandwidth. So that's one of the things. So meetings, it becomes a bit challenging, and therefore we need to resort to using other technology like WhatsApp, where you can, chat with people via WhatsApp, and you still be able to, hold meetings through that. Now, that's not just about that. Again, there is power outages that are very common as well, where you can be having a meeting and you want to implement certain things and it doesn't work. Of course, then those are some of those challenges that we have. But again, additionally, there are times when you will need to, in terms of implementation, you need to go through some administrative procedures, and therefore it could be challenging at times when things are not done very fast. So those will be the main things. And of course, in terms of providing the support that we do, or working together with our partners too, then we need to ensure that we have all of the resources, the financial resources. And that is why we recently applied to a grant known as, to carry out a project known as PEARL, which is Partnerships for Inclusive Research and Learning. And the Partnerships for Inclusive Research and Learning, and this is about learning about disability inclusive research, disability inclusive development. So including persons with disabilities in research. How do you form a research team that is inclusive? And getting funding for this, we've been able now to set up partnerships with other groups there in Cameroon, like some at the University of Bamenda, then our partners, the coordinating unit, and other groups there in Cameroon, where we learn together about inclusive research, and we develop materials together, and then we get everybody involved in collecting data, analyzing, and then reporting on this. So this is about persons with disabilities, and if we are doing things together, or if we were to say that we're doing things for them, we're not actually doing things for them, we're doing things together with them, and therefore each person is involved, is included in the whole process. So those are the challenges, and we look at ways that we work together with other partners, like here in Canada, getting funding from this known as the organization known as SHAC, and then being able to implement these projects there in Cameroon, and not just Cameroon, but internationally, because people belonging to the PEARL project also have what we call the PEARL network, which is open to people all over the world. Therefore, for your listeners, those who are interested in becoming part of PEARL, then you can join the PEARL network by contacting us. So through that, when we can together work in Cameroon and in other countries to ensure that we help improve the lives of persons with disabilities.
Christian, I'm sure there's success stories. Can you share any with with us? And then after this, I'm going to pass it over to my co-host aka to kind of like finish our conversation here. But she just share some success stories with us real quick. With ICDR working in Cameroon.
I think now that you are asking the question about success stories, I have to think hard, because it's not that we don't have success stories, it's because we are so much focused on putting out fire and addressing issues that we sometimes forget about success stories. But I think what I can think about right now is I think what Julius just mentioned, the Pearl initiative that we are currently running, where we obtained funding from a federal granting agency in Canada to conduct this project, the Pearl Network project, which it's really great because it's not just in terms of what we're actually doing, but it provides some funding stabilities in implementing some of our activities in the long run, because that's really important. And I'm the vice chair finance of the group, so I always sometimes look at things in the financial angle. So that would be a success story for me in terms of securing those funds for a few years and being able to help our partners in Cameroon.
If I could add to what Christian just said, there's one other success story is that of we had a project known as the Smartphones Project. Mm-hmm. And in the Smartphone Project, we worked with our partners, the coordinating unit, to acquire some smartphones, and then people with visual impairments had access to these smartphones. Then they organized workshops where they trained different members on using some of the functions of the phone. Of course, the smartphone can also serve as an assistive technology, and through the smartphones you can read your emails, you can get connected, and so we had this project together with them, and they were able to go through the trainings, and after that evaluate this project, and we're hearing that it's had a very great impact on them, and so that to us also is one of the success stories.
Yeah, man. We love hearing success stories because that's one way that most people gravitate towards organizations and also support too as well. But one thing that we also want to know too is what's the specific need that ICDR-Cameroon has right now, that our listeners can be able to partner with in helping?
Oh, I can jump right in. Thank you. Thank you for the question. In terms of come on, we need money, man. So it's to tell you the truth. But it's important just also to stress that we need funding, not just to provide people with to say instead of giving someone fish, teach them how to fish, right. Or to So this is what we are trying to do, and this is the motto in our relationship with our partners. This is not to support them in the long run, but to make them independent as early in the process as possible. But at the same time, you need funding just to start that process. So we recently got approval to fund sort of a small initiative that will sort of address the issues of people with disabilities who have HIV in the northwest and southwest region of Cameroon, and how they are coping with the current conflict. So every funding is welcome because it will go toward supporting our partners and eventually making them self-sufficient, because that's always what we try to emphasize. And so anybody can contact me or Julius or Lynn Coburn. She's our chair at the University of Toronto. So any support will be welcome, financial, otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Julius, do you have anything to add there?
Yeah. So just like I said earlier on, we have the Pearl Network, and those who are interested in becoming part of the Pearl Network can visit our website and become, there is a form to fill or send an email, and you become part of the network. A network of researchers, of people worldwide who are working to improve the lives of persons with disabilities. But again, then we produce educational materials, and we disseminate these to improve knowledge on the situation in the Northwest region. Now, not just that, we also have the technological need. If you're out there and you are good with technology, maybe assistive technologies, or some other technologies that can be used to help persons with disabilities, maybe those with visual impairment, to different devices to be able to access not just the internet, but to improve their daily lives, then we welcome discussions around that area. So the technological need, and then of course we need the human resources, which is those partners becoming part of the network and working together with us. And then again, if you're a student out there and you are interested in knowing more about or having an internship or working on some projects, then we welcome you amongst us. We have a lot of research projects that are going on, and we do a lot of writing, collaborative research, and publications. And if you want to be involved in the research process, then get in touch with us and then become part of our group, and we can work together. Thank you.
You keep those are great pointers, right? But how can people actually get in touch with you? Can you give an email, social handle that people can connect with you guys?
Yeah, so Christian will give we have the Twitter account, but of course my email address is j.nganji@utoronto.ca. So it's j.nganji@utoronto.ca.
Yeah, and so talking about a Twitter handle, we have a Twitter handle for ICDR-Cameroon. It's ICDR, so it's Cameroon, ICDR, CAMEROON ICDR. You can reach. I'm the administrator of that Twitter account. You can DM me. You can email us as well. Julius just gave his email address. Lynn, our chair, her email address is Cockburn @utoronto.ca. And you can reach me. My email address is chris.noumi1@gmail.com.
Appreciate
what gives you, both of you guys, a sense of joy and pride and motivation to keep going on a daily basis, with not only ICDR, but just, everything you got going on in life? What gives you a sense of, joy and motivation to keep going?
I think for me, it's like focusing on the little things. It's sometimes very frustrating to be working from outside of the country, but there are things that give me sort of joy and hope. For example, when we have our partners, we develop an initiative where, for example, recently I think I mentioned that we help them in the research process, how to develop a research question, how to collect data, how to analyze data, and these are the smaller things. And we saw the feedback we received when we were conducting that workshop, and it was really positive. The type of questions they were asking sort of give me confidence that what we are doing is worthwhile, because eventually the goal is to make our partners self-sufficient.
Yeah, so every little thing actually helps. And I'd mentioned a project that we had called the Forum, supporting the healthcare workers there in the Northwest region during this conflict. And one of the things when we're evaluating that program, we found the feedback we got from a few participants that we interviewed, talking about the impact of the program on their lives and personal lives and professional lives. It was really tremendous, and that gives us a joy, and we see that the little things that we do actually help people. And so this actually brings us joy. It gives us more energy and the need to identify more projects and move on and work together with our partners, with people there in Cameroon, to ensure that we can improve the lives of persons living with disabilities in the various ways that we can with the resources that we have available to us.
What say you to the people who think of the government as, a holdback, right? Like the government will hold them back from actually donating to people to help Cameroon, not just mentally, but those with disabilities physically as well, right? What say you to those people?
Well, there are a lot of people out there, we don't need to depend on the government to lead us to be involved in various initiatives. So we can, as individuals, become involved in our own ways, and by supporting in the various ways that we've just mentioned, or of partnerships, maybe being involved in different groups and doing things. It doesn't need to be groundbreaking things, but very little things actually help, and they have tremendous impact. So that's just an encouragement that you can get involved in little things that we identify that would help people and get very useful and positive results.
Yeah, we are not a like sort of a political organization. What we are doing things on a small scale. Yeah. So and anything, and then we are not antagonizing anything, anybody, including the government. So whatever we are doing is just on a small scale, but it has a big impact. So yeah.
As far as the future is concerned, right? What are some of your immediate goals, programs that you guys see long term that you want to implement, and short term as well, for the listeners? How can they help? Again, I want you guys to reemphasize how they can contact you guys on social as we wrap up this interview.
Yeah, so we are setting up just in the short term. We are working on a program to be able to organize virtual placements for occupational therapy students to be able to be placed with organizations there in Cameroon, so that it helps the students in their projects, in their own education here, but while also working with the groups there in Cameroon, to support them in one way or the other. And so for those students that are out there who are in occupational therapy, they can become part of this and get a mentor that will mentor them, and then they'll be able to work on international projects. Like this is part of international development. Then, of course, in the long term, we are looking to identify more projects there in the Northwest region in Cameroon, and to ensure that we continue to sustain the partnerships that we have. And we are still looking for funding. We have a lot of things that we need to do in Cameroon, but we can't do this without the finances. So out there, if there are organizations or individuals who feel that they can support the work of ICDR-Cameroon, then please, again, you have our Twitter handle, you have the email addresses that we've mentioned. But again, on the ICDR website, there is a form for donation where you can actually go on the website, and then you donate. There will be instructions there, so you can donate to specific projects there at ICDR-Cameroon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anything to add, Christian?
Yeah. So I think Julius said pretty much everything, except I can add one thing to what he said earlier, in terms of what we are organizing to support virtual placement for students in our program. I think we are also looking. We have people on the ground, partners on the ground, but we will welcome more partners who can support students as mentors virtually. People whether in Cameroon, but also in the West, you can be a mentor for students who are doing placements online. Whether you are in the US, you are an occupational therapist in the US or in Canada or in Europe, you can become a mentor for those students who will be doing a placement virtually into Cameroon.
Man, listen, you guys have done an incredible thing. I appreciate the work. Thank you guys for making time. I know, we struggled to make this happen, but we finally made it happen. So, definitely want to thank you guys, Christian and Julius, for joining us on this call. Hopefully the audience can get some stuff from this, and hopefully people partner with what you guys are doing. And shout out to everybody up there in Toronto. That's like a third home for me. So, and what's it, Ottawa? Not Ottawa. Where you at, Julius?
So I'm actually based in Gatineau, which is just like, we have Ottawa, Gatineau is like one region, right? So yes, so I'm based in Gatineau. Yeah.
Man, you keep going in and in the code more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you guys, man. Hopefully, we can link up, physically in the future when Corona is over, when you down here, we up there. So thank you guys again so much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting us. Thank you for the opportunity.
Yes.
Thanks for having us on your platform.
Certainly. If you enjoyed what you watched and what you heard on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, and to bring us, you get updates every time I drop something new. SITMpodcast.com is the website. Put a backslash and you can read blogs, or backslash and you can shop merch. That's how we are able to drive this machine. I want to thank AK, Ma, for making this happen, Achiri, Charles, the whole team. And also a special thank you to Mane, who actually put us in contact with Julius and Christian and the ICDR-Cameroon initiative. She's also an occupational therapist as well. Very passionate about this stuff. So if you are in that field, I got a lot of friends. So definitely appreciate if you guys enjoy this interview, and hit them up. Thank y'all for watching this Stuck in the Middle podcast. I am Flex, AK is in the background. We out.